Matt's about to throw you off the show.
Well, that's my friend. I haven't played the demo. I haven't played the original.
I won't throw him off the show.
Just look at him with scorn.
That's kind of a outsider's perspective is always interesting. Like, I don't know why you didn't play it. You're gonna play it. Throw questions about it. I think that's definitely valid. You might ask questions that we might not have thought of.
All right. The intro music has finished, and we are officially live. Keith, would you like to do the honors?
Huh? Hi, we're the Beerumverate. We're a group of guys from Sifted.net who like talking about good beer and video games. We're not here to promote drinking. Please drink responsibly. Especially when you're paying $15 for gin and tonics in hotel bars. You have to drink responsibly because you can't afford not to.
It's true.
Any beers or breweries we talk about aren't sponsoring us, and I'd just like to introduce my friends. So we've got Setharoth, Weird Flower Girl, Cloud, and Cover Mouse Guy, and Goggles Man.
all accurate. All accurate.
That's fair. That's fair.
Evan, how's things?
Good. I just spent the night in probably the most expensive hotel I've ever been in. So,
Sorry, what you should have done then is go, yeah, I spent the night in probably the most expensive hotel. And then...
Was it worth the money? It doesn't sound like it seemed
Sorry,
like it was,
Dan,
Evan.
what you should have done there is go, huh? Was it worth the money?
It was worth the money only because it was half off because of the coronavirus scare. They're cutting, slashing hotel prices.
My
That's the only
honeymoon
thing. Hey, let's just.
got cancelled to Japan, Evan. I was supposed to be going at Easter, but the
Oh,
flight
no.
got cancelled and the cruise got cancelled. My cruise was the cruise ship, the Diamond Princess that got quarantined off the side of the.
Are you serious?
Oh
my!
And then we rebooked on another cruise, and that's the ship that's been quarantined off the coast of California.
Oh
So
my
really, I think
God.
our honeymoon doesn't want to happen.
Apparently so. Someone's gonna make a horror movie called like Quarantine, like in the middle of nowhere, and in the middle of the ocean, and people are turning into zombies, and there's no place to go, and I can just see it now. I mean, there's that South Korean film, Train to Busan, which is basically a zombie film that takes place on a train. So I could see it happening.
Or there was that terrible 90s film called Ghost Ship with Julia Margulies.
And
yes,
Ice Cube, I think, was in that movie too, right?
Yeah, I think he was.
No, he wasn't in that one.
He was in Ghost of Mars, that horrible John Carpenter film from
Maybe
the 90s.
that's what I'm thinking about.
God. Well, they're both shit. I mean, if that's the through line.
Carl Urban was in one of his early film roles in Ghost Ship.
You know, it's...
we need a Dread too. That's what we need.
I didn't know that was him until years later, because I actually wasn't familiar with Carl Urban as an actor, but I saw the his Bones in Star Trek reboot, and then he was the detective kind of private eye guy in The Boys, which is a really good show. And then I went back. Oh, really? I liked it a lot, but I had seen Dread, and I loved that movie from when it first came out, and then I watched it again recently. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's Carl Urban. Like, I love that he never takes the helmet off. It's perfect.
Matt, how are you?
I'm good. It's, what time is it right now? It's 12:18. I've had a few to drink. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII tonight. It's going to be a good time.
Saturday night to me.
Oh,
yeah.
I just picked this at random.
That was your con weekend. Just took the pictures, just celebrating. Lovely Friday you had.
Yeah, it was yeah, whatever. Dan, other than your trials and tribulations of trying to get on a cruise ship, how's things?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just waiting for the school to close so I can have some more time off.
It's horrible.
Because we don't work enough as teachers as it is.
We were just talking about that offline too, which I think is funny because I have another friend that's a teacher, and I'm just like, God damn it, dude, you have so much goddamn time off.
Yeah, but they've got to pay for the most expensive holidays.
It's true.
Right, beers.
Yes. Evan, you want to go first?
Who's going? Oh, Matt, I thought you were like leaning forward to grab a beer.
I said, Evan, do you want to go first?
Oh, really? Sorry, my internet's kind of it's a bit choppy this
All right.
this stream for me. Sorry. So I got halfway through, at least when I finished this one, but every now and then I pass by this this kind of like a international import foods shop at Kyoto Station and near the subway, and I'll pick up a beer, an import beer that's way too expensive. This is like $6, I think I paid for this fucking beer. But it's just like that's the prices. There's no way around it. You're not gonna find it anywhere else either. So this is a Gilgamesh brewing from Oregon, from Salem. This is I like how it's just like flat out. Just yep, that's everything on the can. There you go. It's 12 ounces, 6.5%. Ingredients: water, malted barley, unmalted wheat, rolled oats, hops, and yeast. So yeah, it's a hazy IPA. And yeah, I mean, let me get that close to the lamp again so it looks like it's glowing. Not as hazy as the name would lead you to believe, but the hops, it's extremely tropical. Like this smells really, really fruity, but it's actually not that bitter. And okay, the back end is quite bitter, but it doesn't really stay on your tongue. It says 6. I'm fucking dead serious. It says 6.5%, but it doesn't really feel like it. It feels like you might be able to drink a couple of these without like feeling extremely bloated. Some might call that a session IPA, but this is definitely not one of those like 6.5% IPAs where you take a sip and you're like, okay, I can only have like 2 of these before I get like that hot head, tingly sensation in your brain. So yeah, it's good. I don't know why they called it a hazy IPA, but it's still good.
Maybe they tried for a hazy and just didn't make it.
Yeah. And it's made by the evil wizard who hunts the Smurfs.
Yeah. Did they send this beer to my house to infiltrate my... All right, I'm done with that. That's not even... Sorry, that's a Smurfette joke. It doesn't actually work. The more you think about it, the less sense it makes. Anyone else have any beers?
Please.
All right, so tonight I'm drinking Silver Reef Brewing Company. This is their Fresh and Juicy Session IPA. And
I love it. That is a great name.
This is actually a session IPA because it's only 5%. It's none of that like 6+. I really like the can. So this brewing company, I don't know if you could see on the can. It says established 2018. These guys are new on the block. They're in St. George, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours from me. Just like a matte finish on the can. It's a very nice finish on the can. Here's the beer.
Ooh, very pale.
Yeah, very pale.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's surprisingly not juicy and more coriander.
Commentary by Keith on the side.
A swing and a miss.
Seeds,
if it was
seeds or herb.
Yeah. It should have been more.
Coriander seeds is very floral.
Right.
So is it more a seed flavor or more of what you would call cilantro, which is coriander, the herb?
Yeah, it's more herby. It's more floral. If they wanted to go straight juicy, it should have been more citrusy. I think they missed that boat. But
do they have a customer service email you can send feedback to?
Hopefully they do, so I can let them know. But yeah, for a new brewery, not too bad. It's a decent beer.
They should have called it Straight Juicy IPA. I actually wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't buy that at all.
So I think what we've discovered is both of the names of the beer are completely wrong.
Yes.
The hazy one's not hazy, and the fruity one isn't fruity.
I think that that's what we figured out today. Oh well. Well, I got one more halfway through the show. Hopefully, it lives up to its name.
I do too. Hopefully, yes.
All right.
And I was drinking tea because it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Dan, I hope you're not drinking beer.
No, I did think about it, and I was like, no, it's far too early. I'm not drinking anything at the moment, actually. So sorry about that.
Right, rumours? Anyone got any rumours?
No, I don't.
No. Okay, straight into the topic then. We're here to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. So both Dan and I have never played the original. Dan has played some Final Fantasy games. I've never played a Final Fantasy game. Personally, I take umbrage with the naming convention. How can you keep calling something Final Fantasy and the games keep coming out? Don't get it.
Well,
it's like the never-ending story. There's only been two.
They're not connected. There's only been 2 Final Fantasy games?
No, never-ending story.
Yeah, you're right. The never-ending story one is way better.
They should swap those two round, so you can have the never-ending fantasy and final story.
Final story.
There we go. I've just fixed everything. So I made notes, detailed observations of the demo.
Yes.
Who would like to start out of Evan and Matt, having played the originals, and Matt, this being your game, which if you don't play it at least once a year, gives you some kind of psychological trauma.
Yeah, Evan, if you don't mind, I will start.
Please.
So playing the remake demo is like visiting with a girlfriend from high school and trying to date her again. You're both in different places in your life, and you've both changed immensely. And you keep thinking, wow, she could have been this, but she's now something entirely different. And that's kind of the way that I feel about this game and this demo. What I would have wanted for a Final Fantasy VII remake is not what they are going to deliver. But that being said, I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I'm not in a place in my life where her and I can get along together.
Oh no!
And that's.
I hope your wife doesn't watch this stream.
She does occasionally.
What are you trying to say?
Explain yourself.
Interestingly enough, so like with the action combat system, my wife is more keen on that than I am. So I tried to get her to play the original game, but she doesn't like the turn-based stuff. But she is a Devil May Cry fan, and she is a Kingdoms of Amalur fan, and she is a Dragon Age fan. So I think that her and I will probably play Remake together because she'll be.
I can see how she'd like that based on the games that she plays. That kind of makes sense. What did you guys go for? Did you go for normal, flat out the new system? Did you go to the?
Yeah, so I played it a couple of different ways. I played it with the pausing, hitting X to pause and go through the menus, and I also played it with the hotkeys and hitting L1 and whatever hotkey button you select.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I have a quick question. I've listened to a few people and they talk about the different systems. Do you have to decide that before you start the game, or is that like mid-flow you can like change up how you're playing?
Mid-flow.
No.
It's pretty fluid.
Okay, so you can like go hotkeys or press X depending what you decide at that point with the controller.
Yeah, you don't have to use the hotkeys at all. You could just go straight for like the command menu button, which is circle. Yeah. Time slows down. It's still going, but it's so slow that it almost doesn't matter, but it's trying to give you some sort of immediacy.
Right.
And then like button prompts will pop up and you're able to select like items and abilities from that menu, or press circle and hit the hotkey button, which will immediately send you to like triangle for like one of your moves, or square, or that type of thing. Yeah. Okay. So you don't have to use the hotkey stuff if you don't want. I didn't do it my first time, and then I did it my second time. Probably similar to you, Matt.
Yeah.
So Matt, you said that it seems like you and your wife would probably play that together. So overall, like from start to finish, you played around with the combat. You tried it 2 different ways. Like ultimately, how are you feeling about that? Are you you're a turn-based guy? I would say when it comes to
heavily,
JRPGs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
turn-based all the way.
That's what I thought.
The one thing about this, though, I think that there is complexity here, and there is an opportunity for the system to evolve over time. But I'm concerned that we're only getting 1/5 of the story, and how much can it possibly evolve?
Well, one of the things that I was going to say later on, I'll probably say it now, is I might wait until 2035 when the full game releases.
That's
fair. Like Life is Strange, right? Wait till the episode 5 comes out and then buy the full pack. Yeah, just when you're like 53, you can experience the full game.
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, for cheap. Wait for that PlayStation 8 PSN sale or whatever it's going to be. All right, Matt, I guess I'll bounce off you with the combat stuff. So I did the same thing as you, I played it normal, not using the hotkeys, and I didn't make a decision beforehand to not use the hotkeys. I just wasn't used to like the hotkey system.
Right.
So I just didn't pay attention to any of the information on the top left of the screen that shows you all the things you can do. And I just stuck to like the command circle button slows down time, and then you can choose from the menu. And then I waited a couple days and I went back and did the hotkey, and then I went back and did the casual mode, which auto attacks and blocks for you, but you can still do the command menu. I did that the 3rd time I played it.
Well, casual does more than that, because casual reduces the hit points and everything for the enemies. Like,
it's night and day for like even like down to like simple enemies, or like the dog. Those dogs are like it's like Division 2 enemies. They're just like sponges.
Right, and it's not even
sword.
It's not even casual. It's classic, which was very misleading.
That is not.
Yeah, I originally
system.
So the first time that I picked it, or the first time that I jumped into the demo, I was like, "Well, I want classic, obviously, because I'm a classic player." I did not expect it to be like just fucking cakewalk, especially when
it's
you
way
get
too easy.
Yeah, when you get to the first boss, the Scorpion boss, like I didn't have to use any potions or anything to defeat him on classic mode.
But it's like not even turn-based.
Have you started a petition to have them rename it from classic mode? How many signatures have you got so far?
Well, I have your signature, Keith. I know you're gonna sign it for me.
I'll sign it as well, Matt.
Oh, you got 3. I suppose I'll sign it. You got 4. You need 3 more.
Yeah, then we just need to start a hate mail campaign against the developers to get them to change it.
There you go.
I feel bad
on our way.
It, but it might be something that has to be done.
Normal gamer behavior.
Right.
Yeah. Can I talk about the combat? Because
yeah, absolutely.
So I only played it on normal because I've got more things to do that isn't playing the Final Fantasy VII demo.
Fair enough.
And I felt like the combat seemed a bit unresponsive. So when you're just wandering around mashing square to slash with your sword, and then going into the menu system, so you can't use the menu system when you're staggered, and you get in a boss fight you get staggered quite frequently, and seemingly you can't. It felt to me like there was a cooldown. So if you use a menu on one of your characters, so if I used a potion on me, I couldn't then automatically go and use a potion on Barrett.
Right. It depends on the ATB. So like they've reworked the active battle time system into this game by having 2 ATB bars fill up, and each of those bars will allow you to do one command from, whether that's
I don't like
a special move, a magic move, or even using an item.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
don't
to
like it either.
Sorry, is that to basically simulate a turn-based game without having turns? The idea,
right. It's like they're trying to meet halfway between turn-based and real-time combat by making those meters like the midpoint. And I don't know if it succeeds to.
I think I'd rather have it turn-based or have it the other way. Yeah. Surely having somewhere in the middle just sounds like a mess.
It didn't feel good to play for me.
I was really confused while I was playing this. I can tell how, like, obviously the more you play it, you'll get used to some of the stuff going on here, but there were so many times where, and you're just fighting like just regular soldiers, maybe 2 or 3 at a time. There's like a mini boss that's like kind of, I don't know, it's like a machine that has like 2 machine gun arms. Right. And even there, like I would notice, I wouldn't notice that like Cloud is almost going to die until it was like too late, because there's so much shit happening on screen. And I didn't like
there's
that.
Issues with the camera angle.
Yes.
Particularly, it's just that bit too close.
Yeah.
So if you maneuver the camera using the right thumbstick, it was I was playing through the section where you play as Barrett to take down turrets. But because of his position on the screen and where the scenery was, I'd get obscured by the scenery when I'm trying to maneuver the cameras for him to lock onto the turret that I wanted him to lock onto. Right. So then I couldn't lock onto it. So I had to move the camera around, see where I was, and then move Barrett around.
Playing as Barrett was the biggest camera issue for sure.
Yeah. And not just because he's a big character. What else? The dodge roll seems like it's utterly pointless during boss battles.
Yeah, it's like
because that's another thing. Scorpion robot that can lock onto you with missiles, and it was locking onto me, and I thought, I'll wait for the missiles to come and then I'll dodge out the way. I got hit every single time because you can't dodge it.
The game does a poor job of telling you like what if you evade, does it help you actually evade something or not? So there are times where like he would shoot missiles and I'd just be inputting a command and the missiles wouldn't hit me. And then there's times where I evaded and the missiles didn't hit me. So initially I thought you have to evade dodge the missiles, but there's also times where I tried to evade and then I got hit by them. So yeah, it's like I didn't know, do I even need the evade button? Does it just happen? I happen to be standing in the wrong place. So yeah, there's a bit of that as well. I wasn't quite sure like how to use the evade button properly. It's not like Bayonetta where if you hit the evade button then you can open the enemy up for a counter attack. And that's very clear in like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta style games, but this is neither that. Like we said, it's trying to meet halfway in the middle, so this might be something we get used to like the longer we play it, if we end up playing it. And I'm sure there's like all of a sudden you'll be hotkeying in no time and not thinking about all these things that confuse us initially, but I kind of want that battle system to grab me right away. I'm like, all right, this feels good. And it seems like all of us were fairly confused.
Yeah.
So that's not a good sign.
And also the lock-on system when you're fighting the Scorpion robot. So you can when it puts the shield up, you've got to go behind it and then attack it from behind to knock out its shield. But what I was trying to do, because there's a lock-on function and it's got a shield generator, so I was locking onto the shield generator and attacking, and it wasn't doing anything. And then you've got Cloud voicing himself in my headphones saying, "We need to think about this. Think about the solution and then attack. Understand your enemy and then attack." And I was like, well, I'm locking on. The game's told me to lock on, and I'm locking onto the thing that I want to attack, and it's fucking not doing anything. And then it was only when I dodge rolled one time behind it and attacked it from behind. I was like, "Oh, Barrett, we've got to attack it from the rear." And so, well, do a better job of explaining this.
So, if I'm not mistaken, there's actually two methods of attack. You can either hit it with thunder, or you can hit it from behind.
Which I didn't even know that. I didn't know the whole hit. It said hit it from behind, but it constantly repositions itself in front of you, which is, I guess, the point, right? But
yeah.
So it's like, does that matter if I hit it from behind? Like, that's never been a thing in any of these games. So I just used thunder to break it down. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like that there's there's options, but
I think it's a good thing. So like, this is my main concern with the game is like, we're all really confused with how this works, right?
Yeah.
It does not indicate clearly how you should do it. And this is obviously the very first part of the game. With all of the standard tutorial sections that we're going to experience when we get the full retail version of the game. The fact that it doesn't convey these things is both a good and a bad aspect of it. I think that if they continue to evolve, like if the different bosses that you fight throughout this chapter, I guess, continue to evolve the strategy, and there's like different things that you can do to and different ways that you can approach each boss battle, it's going to be good, and the combat system will evolve enough to where using the menus or using the hotkeys is going to be satisfying in some regard. But if they don't explain anything and it stays extremely, very sort of
obtuse.
Yeah, obtuse and rudimentary, where it's like one option or the other. I think people are going to get frustrated with it, myself included.
Right. So, can I talk about some other observations that I've got?
Yes.
So in the opening sequence, it's a very pretty game.
Yes, we should all.
It's absolutely
acknowledge
beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
Why is there a girl praying to a broken sewer pipe?
Right. So, Matt, I don't know about you, but because back in 1997 on the PlayStation 1, I didn't really know what the whole that was, and then you see it in like high fidelity. It's basically like the life force of the planet, which is the Mako, which is what the whole
Mako.
Shinra is.
And Square's fucked that up, but anyway.
Yeah. Basically, it's pumping the life force of the planet to power the city, right? Which is why this Avalanche group is trying to destroy the generator, so that they're not destroying the planet, right? It's very kind of like eco-terrorist angle, which was always been in the game.
Yeah.
Right. That was like the initial thing, but like basically this pipe is like leaking. Like he even says it in the elevator. Barrett is like, it's basically like blood. It's like the green glowy shit is like our red blood, right? So basically Aerith is like looking at this pipe leaking blood, right? I said both names.
You can call her Aerith. It's appropriate.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. All right. So yeah, it's just basically like, oh yeah, this place is, it's setting the stage for this whole environmental angle, I think is what that is. But you wouldn't necessarily know that if not playing the game like you did. So
then the next thing that I thought was the train is going far too quickly into the station. That's got to be a health and safety risk.
Yeah, like you shouldn't be slamming on the brakes so hard that sparks are flying. That's actually something I never thought about. But yeah, that was the end of the line, right?
Yeah, so that wouldn't have worked out very well if they'd smashed the train into the hoardings. What else? The security officers are very clever. In the very first opening sequence, they ignore the massive human being with a gun for a hand and think, that's that skinny guy with spiky blonde hair who's holding a sword that probably weighs 3 times as much as him. He's got to be the dangerous one.
Yes.
Giant gun hand man. Let's ignore him and focus on the skinny guy. So, well done for them. Marco boxes are destructible, but cardboard boxes and plastic barrels are indestructible. So maybe Shinra.
That bothered me as well. They couldn't have the boxes break down. You smash them, and there's physics engine involved. They fly everywhere, but they don't break down.
Right.
So I'm guessing the Shinra company haven't figured out to make all of their armor and everything out of cardboard.
Yeah, they switched the materials. It's metal boxes that look like cardboard, and then cardboard boxes that look like metal. It's an alternate universe. Who knows what the material is made out of? We don't know.
I thought some of the music was very good. Yes. I'm not a big fan of the sound design overall.
What do you like? I think that opening is amazing, which was like got me way more hyped than I probably should have been. When finally the logo pops up, I was like, oh, this sounds so good. What do you mean by the overall sound design, though?
Mainly the voice acting.
All right, this might be this is probably going to be a huge chunk of this.
But before we get onto that, other bits that I thought were good. So the spoiling the ending. I did like the fact that whoever the boss of the Shinra company is, I'm assuming Mr. Shinra.
Yeah.
Decides to blow up his own reactor to then seemingly blame it on Avalanche. I thought that was because that's not canon to the original.
It's not at all. Yeah.
No, Avalanche totally blows it up the first time.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because of the rise of terrorism? And they're like, oh, we don't want our players to be eco-terrorists in a game.
Yeah, political angle to that. Yeah,
that's a good question. I don't know if they just took liberty with, this is the way that this would play out based on the character tropes that we have, or if it was a conscious decision to change the characters. And it'll be interesting to see like what other character moments are not the same as we remember. If it was a conscious decision to interpret it very differently, there's going to be other stuff in further episodes down the line that are changed.
Well, I think this was like their way of showing, like, just so you know, this isn't going to follow exactly what the story was the first time around. Okay. So they showed their hand. That's what I'm thinking, right? They showed their hand quite early.
They'd have to totally remake that section of the game where Cloud dresses up as a woman,
which is still in the game. I know that. Yeah. I've seen some footage of the remake of him dressed that way, and that creepy Don whatever his name was, Corleone. That is
Corneo. I think.
Corneo.
Is it Corneo?
Corneo.
I think it is Corneo.
Could you have made it slightly more different from the actual Godfather name? Like they couldn't even help themselves.
It sounds like it's named after a breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
Try a bowl of Corneos.
Here's an interesting thing. I may live in Japan, but I'm not like a big. What do they call them? I learned the word like two years ago. Weeaboo. Is that what it's called? Is that what it is?
Why are you asking us?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Sorry. Anyways, please forget the last 6-7 seconds. I was hugely into anime when I was a teenager. Like, I'd work for my grandfather during the week, and on the weekends I would spend like $100 on like 5 VHS tapes. Back when like you had to buy like one VHS tape had like 3 episodes of Dragon Ball Z in it, and it cost $20. Like, I wasted so much fucking money. It's actually quite sad, but I was hugely into anime. And then weirdly enough, like living in Japan now for like 9 years or so, Like I'm not into it anymore, and the very tropey stuff that happens in anime that bleeds into shit out of me. And I guess I never really realized how anime Final Fantasy VII really is. And holy shit, like the biggest problem this regardless of the turn-based stuff, for me it's like a learning curve that I think I'll be able to deal with, and I'll dig in and figure it out, all that stuff. Right. But this voice acting, it's so ridiculously over the top that it just completely pulls me out of the whole experience. And for people that like anime, and there's a Venn diagram of like anime nerds and like Final Fantasy nerds, it's probably almost exactly like, it's like an eclipse. It's like the same fucking circle, right? Possibly. But for me, it's too much. It's way too much.
I'm on both ends of the spectrum, because if you go back and play the original game and you read Barrett's dialogue, it is exactly how this guy performs Barrett as a voice actor. And I'm like, fuck, like you kind of nailed it. But at the same time, I'm like, that's still racist. I don't know how to interpret this or how I feel about this. And that spills over into the other characters as well. It's like, I don't really know if you're just being faithful or if it's over the top. Yeah.
So would you say that
it's like Keith was getting at with the grunting and the yeah, it's like nobody does that. It's not something that humans do when they speak. Sorry, you were going to say something.
That's all right. Would you say that the graphics have upgraded and the gameplay potential is upgraded? I'm more turn-based like Matt, but the actual aesthetic of the people acting it and playing the role is still back in 1997.
Well, I think Matt Kyle on the recent episode of Game Face brought up a point that I didn't really think about, why maybe we're having issues with the voice acting versus the high fidelity graphics. It's like back in the day, it was just like those like 5 polygons, right? Spewing these lines. And now it's like so close to realism. It doesn't look like Fire Emblem 3 Houses, right? That looks like a fucking anime. So you can get used to like, okay, this is very anime tropey, but it looks like a fucking anime. We get it. Here it's like hyper realistic to an extent, but so you have that on one end. It's like Uncharted characters, but they're going like, huh? What? Like it just doesn't mesh when you put those two things together, I guess. But for me, the biggest issue, like I'll throw this to you guys, the elevator scene where Barrett is giving his exposition on like what they're doing is so ridiculously over the top. Not only the way he delivers his lines, but the animation movement. There's a time where he's like, the micro-reactor, and he's like flailing his arms. I'm like, there's no human being moves like that or talks like that. It was so fucking ridiculous.
No, but if you go back to the original game, that's in the original game. It's just
but also 23 years have passed. Like, you know,
I agree with you. Like I'm very torn on this is faithful, but it's not. Like there's a certain point at which being faithful it doesn't lend itself to this whole remake project.
Right.
Yeah.
If they make changes to the story, why can't they make changes to how the characters talk?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Have him do his huge exposition dump with passion, but like you gotta, it's fucking terrible. I think that, and they get out and he's like, one false move, and then he like shoots the side like right by Cloud. This is what's gonna happen to you. And then Jesse comes over. It's like, will you just
give him a break because I want to shag him.
Give him a break. And then like the camera cuts and it shows Barrett. He goes, I'm like, oh, what just happened? It is so bad. And then Cloud's like, I should have asked for more money, which is fine. Like Cloud delivers his lines like I'm fine with his character, but regardless of the whole like Mr. T caricature of Barrett, the over the top animations and the way he delivers his lines, I think is terrible. Sorry.
So when I booted up the game, I did it during a lunch break when I was working from home, and my wife walked in after she'd had her lunch because she was working from home as well, And she just went, "Take it, this is Japanese then." And I just turned around and went, "Yep."
Yep. Yeah, it's like, why do they have to go so tropey with everything? It bothered, but I think, Matt, I think you're right as well, where this is what this game was. There just was no voice acting down to it, but this is exactly probably what it would have been if there was voice acting back in 1997. But it just like, maybe if like you love anime and you're always watching, you're just used to this stuff and you're like, yeah, this is great, like this is what this should be. But from the outside of that, I'm just like, this is so bad. The delivery is bad. It sounds like people aren't talking to each other. Like they're just saying lines. Well, I think there's some places a sword can't reach. Like, why are you talking like a newscaster? like that fake fucking. How did the announcer newscaster voice come to be? Like, just somehow someone started being professional, and then it got to a point where it just seems like a caricature of someone, like a Family Guy version of a newscaster talking.
Right.
And this seems like the version of that, how they're delivering their lines. And there's a direction to that. Like, someone chose, like, this is how we want this game to be presented.
Right.
And I just think it's the wrong angle to take for it. Like, I don't know. I have a huge problem with it.
It's a weird decision because, yes, it's faithful, but like Keith mentioned, if you're changing huge story elements or like huge plot points, why not change the way that this shit is delivered to make it more modern? That blows my mind. I don't understand why somebody, especially in the localization, like why didn't you take the opportunity to really localize this in a way that is not over the top and tropey, and
or just like bring it down a bit. Like, if it's cheesy, like I guess there's no you might not be able to work around that. It doesn't have to. This isn't like Christopher Nolan's take on Final Fantasy series, right? Or a Final Fantasy game.
Right.
Like, just tone it down a bit. Just tone it down. There's one thing that the 8-4 Play podcast, it's like 8-4 is like a localization company in Tokyo, and Mark McDonald is on, and he had brought up a point where, like, in the old version, when they first get off the train and they take out the two guards and Jesse like kicks the guard and he falls over, like, it made sense because they're made out of like 7 polygons and you don't know like if she kicked him or shot him. I always thought she shot him. And in this one, he was like, where she does the kick and it hits him in the stomach. It's like, why did he keel over and like lose his, like, become unconscious? Like, she fucking kicked him in the stomach. It doesn't make any sense. But there are certain situations where they're just like making sure it follows exactly what happened in the initial game, where they just, I mean, she could have punched him in the face or like, I don't know, but that's just like a minor thing that I actually don't really care about. I just thought it was a kind of a funny observation.
Yeah.
Do you think that they've gone down that route because they're petrified of the internet and the haters that be like, you've destroyed our classic game? Because obviously Matt's like a big fan of it, and he said he's conflicted by it because he's looking at the old game. It is a photocopy of what basically happened there in the voice acting. So if they had made all those changes, people would be in uproar about it. Not us, obviously, but there'd be a portion of people. And you think that's what they were worried about?
Yeah.
But then, if they had had the compunction to do something different, maybe they could have opened it up to a wider audience of not just rabid Final Fantasy VII fans.
Right. Well, and then also they changed
as it
battle
stands
system,
at the moment. So. Yeah, they changed the battle system, but no one's really talking about that. Because at the moment there is no way I'm going to play this game because it would just annoy the shit out of me. So the what section was it? Where they're planting the bomb. Barrett and Cloud are planting the bomb. There's a section in that where Barrett's yelled at him, "Do your damn job," and gives him the bomb. And then the next 3 bits of voice acting are,
Oh, yeah, Keith, this is another part that bothers me. Yeah, he says he gives him the bomb. He's like, "Do your damn job," and then Cloud takes it, and he's walking, and then Barrett goes like this. It's like, why is he laughing? He just screamed at him,
right?
And then it's like, I don't get it. I don't get what all of that is, all those grunts and stuff. Like, it makes sense in like in anime, and I guess Final Fantasy is very anime-y, but it's so annoying. It's, I don't know. It grinds my gears.
If I want to get annoyed by anime, I'll do something else that doesn't involve me engaging with a slightly annoying combat system and a slightly annoying camera.
Yeah, I mean.
So Keith, if all in all you've got it, given this a thumbs down.
For me personally, I'm just not interested.
Yeah.
I
don't blame you.
I wasn't interested before.
Didn't do you any favors.
Yeah, I played the demo and I'm still not interested. There is going to be a cohort of people who's going to love it, and good for you. You've got something that you love. For me, I just don't care.
Yeah, getting back to what Dan was saying, I think that it's weird, the stuff that they decided to upgrade and change versus the stuff that they didn't. Because I would have felt a lot better about it just being a turn-based combat system and you upgrading the localization and the dialogue and all that shit. And I would have felt fine about it if you modernized the story and not the mechanics. But they modernized the mechanics but didn't modernize the story. And that just... If you're going to do one, why not the other? And if you're going to choose one, why the mechanics and the combat and all that and not the story? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
That is a great point that I actually never really thought about. Where
you have
there's a lot of there's a lot of the dialogue, and it needed to be upgraded, but it's not like the turn-based combat system needs to be revolutionized because it still exists today in games.
Right.
So they could have kept.
Wasn't there a hugely successful Switch exclusive recently that had turn-based combat?
Yeah,
like it still works. So if they could have kept anything, they could have. Turn-based combat still works. Dragon Quest XI, Persona 5, like there's modern RPGs that still do that. So like Matt, I think you bring up a good point. Like, they may have focused on the wrong thing.
Right, the shit that they're modernizing and the stuff that they're trying to upgrade and make better for us as a fan base is not the shit that we want them to focus on. Like,
yeah, that's weird.
You know.
Just a quick question: what was I assume some of you played Final Fantasy 15.
Right.
Was the battle system the same in that as this, or is it different to that as well?
I haven't played any Final Fantasy game ever, and I never will. At this rate, I never will. But listening to some podcasts recently, people were saying that they much prefer Axe of the Blood God, who basically only talk about JRPGs.
Yep.
I don't know why I still talk. I don't know why I still listen to that podcast.
I'm surprised that you listen to him at all.
Yeah, me too.
I think I picked up when they started talking about their top RPGs of the past 20 years or something. They had an episode and they were talking about BioWare games. So I picked it up and I've just never got rid of it off my podcast. And if you're sat on a train for nearly 3 hours, you need something to listen to. So yeah, they were saying that they much prefer the combat in this than Final Fantasy 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have heard that it's very similar to Kingdom Hearts 3's combat as well, but I have not played 15 or 3, so I do not know. But maybe it's like a mesh.
I have not played Kingdom Hearts 3. I have played 15. This is, it feels like a clear upgrade to 15, because 15 added some turn-based elements and they had like the time dilation and whatnot, where they tried to appease fans of traditional Final Fantasy games with 15. This is like the next step up with that. It just doesn't go far enough, I don't feel like.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Keith, you're obviously out, and I can't fault you for
I spent
it.
the whole time playing the demo thinking I'd rather be playing Control.
Okay.
You're just like, why am I playing this and not Apex Legends? It just doesn't make any sense. I am wasting my fucking time. And actually, in hindsight, I mean, that's a joke, but like, I think I think you're right. Like, we'll buy this game not when it first comes out. I don't agree with. I think it's a bit insidious to not put Final Fantasy Remake Part 1 or Episode 1 or whatever you want to call it on the back of that, because at first I didn't really think about it, but there's several friends that don't have, they're not on fucking podcasts or anything, like they're not on Sifted.
Losers.
Like, they're not losers. They're not losers. They're cool. They're cool guys that have they're not cool guys that they play like Winning 11 and Madden and all these cool games. They're not paying attention to all this news. And my friend legitimately thought that it was going to be the full game. And how would you not think that?
Right.
So I disagree with that. They know what they're doing. They could have put Episode 1 or whatever on the end of that, and they chose not to. I think that's really shitty, so I'm not going to buy the game when it first comes out. However, and I don't know if Matt agrees with me, I am so fueled by the nostalgia of Final Fantasy VII that I basically have to play this, and I will purchase it at some point, regardless of all the things that I don't like.
There's going to be a pre-order bonus. Oh, I should have had this ready for rumours. Pre-order bonus where you can play the game with the new environments, but the original character models.
There you go. Like the Tomb Raider.
Right,
the recent Tomb Raider games do that, yeah. I'm surprised they didn't do that.
Please
give
the
nostalgia-gasm that people will be having.
Please give us your $60 for this extra DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm with Evan. I'm not gonna buy it on release. I'm gonna wait for the reviews, even though eventually I will buy it.
Well, because you have to. If you don't buy Final Fantasy VII, you'll start getting the brain pain again.
And it never goes away.
I don't know. I'm holding out hope that eventually, like, the further you get in the game, it's gonna evolve enough that it makes sense. And everything that we've experienced in the demo is a small snippet of a larger whole that hopefully will deliver.
In a weird way, I'm not really impressed by what any of you said about this game, but it does make me want to go and play the demo because I want to see how ridiculous it is.
Well, I'd be interested on if you did play the demo after, like before, during this episode and after you've played it, your thoughts in like a 5-minute snippet on an episode.
I'll get around to playing it this next week. I just haven't had a chance up until now, but yeah, it's interesting because I'm a big fan of turn-based. So I'm really sad that that's not in it. I'd rather that, as Matt said, the classic mode, that would have been much better. For someone like me, I would have gone, obviously not having like the sponges, but have the same difficulty, but as turn-based, I would have liked that a lot more. But I'll give it a go and see what I think.
What are some like turn-based games that you're a fan of?
Well, no. Well, when I originally went to Final Fantasy 9, 10 Part 2, and then Kuni, I really liked. And then Persona 5, stuff like that. So all of those I like playing. So
totally, those are games that like take the idea of turn-based battle and they add something to it to make it feel fresh. Or like, with like Final Fantasy 10, it's like okay, Waka and specific characters could only attack specific enemies, and then you could see who was the order of the attack. Yeah, and so that really.
Yeah, the swap mechanic too.
Swap mechanics, and you weren't penalized for that. And then Kuni, you're basically, it's like Pokemon, but you're strategizing as like a Pokemon trainer while like the battle's going on by itself. Like, there's ways to make a turn-based battle game by adding extra things to make it feel fresh. That it's not just like a game like an SNES game, 16-bit RPG, to make it feel fresh. Yeah, and I just wish they would have done that. I'm guessing they'll get used to it. Like,
well,
I don't
know.
The
thing is, they didn't want to have to build two different battle systems.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Like Matt said earlier on, they've come up with this weird halfway house.
Yeah.
That doesn't really give you the best of either.
No.
Yeah.
Very true. Sounds like it anyway.
Yeah. This is not halftime in the slightest. This is more like almost
done
like
time.
2-minute warning.
Almost done time. 2-minute warning.
All right.
My
2-minute warning.
My second beer after you do your second beer.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Aqua del Diablo, which is
same brewery.
Which is
water of the devil.
Water of the devil for those of you that don't speak Spanish. And it's by the same brewery, Silver Reef Brewing Company, established 2018. This is their Mexican lager.
Oh, so you're going to say this is a chili flavored beer or something?
No, that would have been just as good though.
I want to see a short film similar to Reefer Madness that's called Aqua
del
Diablo.
Yeah, warning everyone of the dangers of the hole that is
so
alcohol.
there you go.
Oh wow, look at that!
That's really pale.
Wow,
I can see your face straight through that.
Yeah.
This is a Mexican lager.
It doesn't look very carbonated.
It's not. I mean, it's very light. But I figured that would be a good second beer since I've already been drinking before this episode.
Yeah, it's probably helpful. I'm taking a second shot at my crappy, highly carbonated cocktails, which I explained on a previous episode. So this is the what is this called? The Kodawari Taste Lemon Sour. It's a lemon sour. It's 9%. It's called Demon Lemon. That says Demon Lemon on the side there. Apparently, it has 1.5, the equivalent of 1.5 lemons in this, and it's 9%. Yeah. Again, these are these highly carbonated alcoholic cocktails that people drink after work because they're cheap and they give you a buzz. Now they're going for Boss Coffee, shout out to Tommy Lee Jones, who still does commercials for the company. They released a series of coffee. It's called Craft Coffee. And the idea of putting craft on coffee, that it's sold like hotcakes. And now all these fucking companies in Japan, whether it's coffee or beer, are putting craft on the label as this cheap marketing tactic to get people to buy it. So now there's like these shitty strong zero drinks that are just these cocktails. It's like grape or apple or whatever. And they're just throwing it out there. Quick buzz, just fucking buy it. It's cheap. It's easy. Now this one is trying to do like let's make our can look a bit nicer. Let's put the little craft in the shitty lemon cocktail market. So that's the angle they're taking here. And yeah, wow, that is very lemony.
You gotta pour it in a glass, dude. We gotta see that shit fucking glow.
Yeah.
Shit. I think I just
like Mako reactor.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the fucking lifeblood of the planet. Wow, I just feel like I bit into a lemon. There it is.
And it does glow, in fact.
It does.
Wow, I think I'm gonna die.
All right, are there any final thoughts before we take off?
Oh god.
That is way better than the other one. The other one was like gasoline that tasted like lemon. This one is like it tastes.
It's like lemons that taste like gasoline.
Into a lemon, so that's dangerous.
What's everyone looking forward to playing this month? Anything? Anyone going to pick up any games coming out?
I need to finish Control. I've got loads of games that I need to finish. That's basically the reason that I'm not buying anything new at the moment. So I've got tons of stuff that I need to play.
My wife's going to be out of town next weekend, and I'm going to finish Fire Emblem. And Dan, I added you as a friend to play Division 2.
We should do that. Sorry. Yeah, let's do that.
And at some point, Evan and I are going to stream playing Apex Legends.
Yes.
Yeah, we should do that too. That'd be awesome.
All right, I'll download it tonight. I keep forgetting to do that.
You keep saying that you're going to download it. You never do.
For like 15 minutes. and I was like, this game is boring, so I deleted it. Oh, Return of the Obra Dinn is really, really good. That is a masterclass. Just when you think games, like you've played every genre, game puts a spanner in the works. It's like, wow, it's like the guy who made Papers, Please, something Pope. Like, it's an amazing game. It's very different from anything I've played for quite a while. So that's a great game. Right. Doom Eternal, I really want to play. The idea of adding heaven to Doom Eternal, like, I'm super interested in see the angle they take for that, especially the way that they in the last game, all the documents about hell. I'm really interested to see what, like, they're taking what an angel is and all this lore from, like, fucking the Bible and how they're going to twist that into their own world. I'm looking forward to that. But
have you seen the pre-order bonuses for that and the deluxe edition bonuses?
No.
This is for another episode, but oh my god, what a load of shit!
Oh, it's bad.
So you get a player skin, which is utterly pointless.
It's first person. What the fuck?
And it's not even. So I'm guessing it's going to be for the multiplayer. You know that you've got this exclusive skin.
Oh, when I think Doom, I think multiplayer. That's the reason I play these games, right?
Yeah, and you get skin for your shotgun.
At least you can see it.
And
yeah, you're right. You're not wrong.
And those things are worth an extra £10 apparently.
Wow. Are you kidding me? Wow.
Yeah.
So, are you saying that Bethesda has gone full EA?
And they've not gone full EA. They just seem to be edging towards it. But when I looked, so what do you get for the deluxe edition? You get a skin for your character model and a skin for a shotgun.
For a tenner.
For an extra tenner. So it's supposed to be £54.99. It's supposed to be £44.99. But then there's the digital deluxe edition, which gets you the first round of DLC for free.
Which we don't know what that is.
So So you're paying for something you don't even know what it is. Thanks, games.
Ridiculous.
All the shit that I don't like about stuff is present in that. But then I'm a rampant hypocrite because I'm playing Apex Legends.